We've got first quarter earnings from Cloudflare, and they were not what Wall Street had hoped for. I'm Cory Johnson, Chief Market Strategist for Futurum Group. And Cloudflare matters a lot because it's had fantastic growth over kind of a long period of time in the cybersecurity and network access business. And it's become one of the most important companies in technology. Wall Street just likes a beat or a miss. And this was a beat, but the guidance was a miss. So I don't know what to do with that. But the revenue growth of 41% for the year was $1.3 billion. Okay. For the quarter, that was last year's growth. For the most recent quarter, we saw $379 million in revenues, a 30% growth rate. So right there, you've got 41% growth over a long term, going to 30% growth over the most recent term. And although large customers are growing at 37%, it wasn't enough. And when they came out with the guidance numbers, boy, those were disappointing because they're guiding 28% growth. So again, 41% over many years, 30% over the most recent quarter, now 28% for next quarter, and for all of calendar 2024, 27%. So slower growth and slower growth and slower growth is just not what Wall Street wants to see from this company that once grew so much more quickly. And yet the threat of cyber attacks is so much greater than ever before. They talked about how they have 209 billion cyber threats they block every single day with Cloudflare software. Very impressive. And they talked specifically about what's going on in this calendar year of 2024 when there are elections all over the world and how they're specifically protecting state and local government election websites in 33 US states. And they're also reporting internet shutdowns that are happening during times of elections all over the world. Now, during the conference call, CEO Matt Prince talked a lot about how the business of Cloudflare, the business model of Cloudflare is so superior to the old model of buying marketing dollars, spends, and then turning that into salespeople and trying to get customers. Because they've got a freemium and rent-to-own business, customers come to them first, interact with salespeople, and only then do they start marketing those people they've already identified as likely purchasers. So that model seems to be working, but it's growing more slowly in this environment and at this size. So as soon as the results came out, stock sold off big time, sold off about 14% in after-hours trading. Nonetheless, the stock's up 108% going into the print. So it's had a fantastic year. Maybe the sell-off, not the biggest of deals. But when pressed on it, the usually super happy Matt Prince, he talked about changes at the company. He talked about adding a new salesperson to what's already a new sales director to what's already an excellent sales team. I mean, really great salespeople. One salesperson in particular I'm thinking of, she's really terrific. But their whole team, fantastic with a new head of sales, but then introduces a new type of risk to this business, one that Matt Prince talked about on the conference call.
I want to make it clear, we are in a much more uncertain environment, and the signal that we're seeing is that uncertainty is up. In addition to that, I think you're correct that whenever you have a sales leadership change, there is risk that comes with it, and so there's a bit of that. But the primary factor here is that as we look at the signals in the overall macroeconomy, it feels like a much more it feels like there's much more reason to worry in Q1 than there was in Q4.
All right, so what's this all mean for Cloudflare, and what do we want to take away from these results that were kind of good but not great in terms of guidance? Well, I've got one number that's going to tell you a whole lot with a summary of these results right after this.
The Drill Down is brought to you by Futurum Group, where analysts, researchers, advisors, content creators, and marketing experts help business leaders anticipate and understand shifts in their industries and build strategies to leverage disruptive innovation. With deep analysis, Futurum Group's extensive industry experience delivers reliable research and data, thought leadership, and actionable advice to help you with your strategy and go-to-market efforts. Futurum Group.
First quarter earnings from Cloudflare were kind of good, $379 million that grew at 30%, but not the 46% CAGR this company has shown over the years. And one number that tells us a whole lot about these results was the guidance number. The guidance that this year is going to be 27% growth, down from last year's growth, down from this quarter's growth, down from next quarter's growth, slowing and slowing and slowing only a little. That's not good. All right, thanks for listening to Drill Down Earnings. We've got, you can find me on Twitter, or X as they like to call it, at Cory TV, on TikTok and Instagram at Drill Down Pod, and robust earnings reports on the Futurum Group's YouTube site. Drill Down Earnings, part of 6.5 Media.